Hey guys, it's DeAnn Dillard with the Real Estate Success Podcast. Today I have Al Stasek with me. Al coaches over 8,000 agents worldwide. Al was inducted into the RE/MAX Hall of Fame. He's bringing in over 10 million a year in revenue, and most importantly, Al is father to two teenage sons, Aiden and Matthew.
That's right.
Al, yep. Thanks for spending this time with me today and sharing some content with our viewers.
DeAnn, thank you for having me. I love your show. Love everything you guys are doing over here, and I'm honored that you had me on.
Awesome. I know, Al, that you're a complete real estate rock star and a pillar in our group, the Honey Badger Nation, but not everybody out there knows. So tell us a little bit about your real estate journey and how you got where you're at right now.
Sure. Well, I'm born in Cleveland, Ohio, suburb I grew up in was Parma. So it was, blue collar town, lower to mid income type of a situation. Mm-hmm. And that's all I know. That's how I was raised. My dad worked the docks in a union job. He'd come home, shower, shave, and he would go up to his Century 21 office, which I kind of was like, raised going up to this real estate office in the 80s. And it was really just because I wanted to hang out with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
because he was selling real estate part-time to make ends meet. Back then, DeAnn, real estate was a much different environment than what we're used to. The offices were male dominated. Everybody's in there swearing, smoking. It was yelling, the broker yelling at their agents. And it wasn't a very warm, friendly environment, which is, what a lot of us expect and are used to today with real estate environments,
Right.
And so I grew up I knew one thing. I was never going to be a real estate agent if this was what I was going to be coming to work to do. I would sit next to my dad at night. He'd be making cold calls. He'd literally have the Haynes directory. He would make one street. He'd call one street a night. That was kind of his thing. And as a part-time agent, my dad actually saw success by just grinding it out. But I wanted nothing to really do with that. It just didn't seem fun to me. So I went down the road of after I dropped out of college, I got into trucking. I was an over-the-road truck driver for a while. I came off the road with no college education and really not very hireable, but I knew that anybody would hire me if I got my real estate license. So I went down that path and I got my license, and I knew that really, if I wanted to make a lot of money, it was going to need to be in sales, and it was going to have to be a high dollar, sales item, which I couldn't think of anything higher than, real estate or a house.
Right.
There was a high need for it because we all have to live somewhere. So that was really kind of how I was like a caveman making my decision to get into real estate, and just did that. I started out at Century 21. I left to do a startup. It was like a discount type of a business model startup. Learned a lot, but eventually started a team with RE/MAX in 2007, right before the crash happened. And then luckily, I muddled through that, came out bloodied, bumped and bruised, but I met my business partners now. Then they were my coaches, and it was Mike Reese and Jay Kinder who really taught me marketing and how to take a marketing dollar and turn that into a client. I didn't really have a concept of that prior to meeting these guys. And my business just started doubling. Until 2013, I went independent. I broke away from RE/MAX, opened my own brokerage. We doubled our business again over the next 3 years. And that's when I kind of stumbled upon eXp Realty. I wasn't looking for eXp Realty.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I was on the right path as far as my success and as far as, getting myself to a passive income place to where my business was working harder for me than I was for it. And I thought that being the independent broker, not paying any splits, no desk fees, no nothing, I thought that was the path. I saw this business model, and of course, that's, it was like pouring gasoline on the fire that I had already started. And so that brings us to today.
So you started in 1998, is that correct?
I was licensed in 98. Yeah.
98. So how long before you started a team?
Yeah, in 2007, I started the team when I went and joined RE/MAX. And the only reason I started the team was I had a couple agents from my previous brokerage. When they heard I was leaving, They were like, hang on, don't leave me behind. We're out of here too. And they came along with me, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just put you on my team. I didn't, I was already,
what's that?
I was already the manager of that office. So I had some influence, and I was helping agents grow their business at the previous company. And so it was just kind of like, they didn't know what else to do. And they're like, well, we might as well join you. So we really didn't have a strategy. We just went into it and tried to make it work. And thankfully it did work out in the long run. And so that's kind of how it brought
that's funny, Al. I talk to a lot of agents who kind of have some success and they're in the business for a couple of years. And then I hear them say, well, I want to start a team. That's the next step, right? So what would you say to those agents who are thinking of that, but they really don't know where to go? They have no direction. What are the first steps for someone starting a team or considering it?
The first steps is making sure that it's the right move for you at the moment. And I think a couple of the things that you should, be asking yourself in the mirror and being as truthful as you possibly can is, are you in a position to lead other humans? And another way of asking that question is, are you doing a good job leading yourself? And if you can answer that question honestly, in other words, another way of answering is, would you join you? With the leadership skills that you have currently, would you join you? Are you disciplined? Are you getting in there making your calls? Are you following the scripts? Are you out seeking personal growth to help you grow as a person before you can grow as a business person? If all those checks are in the boxes, you might be ready to start your own organization and your own team. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would say is, if you do have checks in those boxes first, the next question is, do you have systems in place that, people ask me all the time, they're like, so, I want to start a team, or I have a team. What's the first step? And I think that the first step is, besides making sure that if you're ready as a leader, what is your value proposition?
Yeah.
So before you go on a listing appointment and meet with a client, you should have a value proposition of why they should list their home with you. I think that's, everybody could probably agree with that.
Absolutely.
And if you know it, you need to know it inside, outside, and backwards, so that you can deliver that in a way and articulate your value. Value unarticulated is going to be value unappreciated. So you have to be able to articulate that value in a way that compels someone to want to join you. So what is your value proposition? Most teams typically have a version of 3 different value propositions. One, it's oftentimes an administrative help. You're leveraging their administrative team to help you grow your business as a team member. What does the administrative team look like? The second would be leadership and mentoring. People join teams because they need additional mentor training that they're just not going to get from the brokerage, or they need it at a higher level. So that would be the second tier. And the third pillar would be lead generation. A lot of teams offer lead generation so that agents aren't just dependent upon their sphere of influence for leads, or they teach their agent even better how to generate their own leads.
Yeah.
So typically those are the 3 pillars of why someone would form a team, or why someone would join a team, is because of support, the additional pillars of support that they would get. So I would just say, get very clear on your value proposition.
Yeah, I love that. I think that applies to so many things, right? We're always talking about who you surround yourself with in business. And if you're someone who wants to grow a team, you have to be someone that everybody wants to surround themselves, right? That there's some type of value that you're going to add.
Yeah, I think you have to be prepared and also kind of know what the goal is. And the goal can change, year to year. But initially, you really got to have something you're shooting at. For me, I wasn't looking to grow a big team. I wanted to actually keep it real tight and small. And I believe that if you're in production, meaning you're out selling, you're out listing homes, you're working directly with buyers and sellers, a small team's a good model. Okay. Because when I talk about a small team, I'm saying less than 10 agents. You can still manage that group and take care of your buyer and seller clients. It's just when when the team starts to get too big, then you're going to be stretched in lots of directions. So you really got to just know your model and grow to that model. What a lot of people will do is they'll start out real small. And when you're small, you're very profitable because you're in there selling homes. You're the rainmaker. You're supplying some leads. You're supplying the mentorship to your team members, but you're out there killing it. Your money is being made with you listing homes, which is highest value. Your what we call is an HLA. That's the high leveraged activity. So your highest level leveraged activity as a team leader is going to be listing homes. It's your just highest dollar per hour activity. And then, then eventually your HLA becomes recruiting productive real estate agents to your organization. There isn't a brokerage or a team that can survive on not doing that. Right. It's just a fact. Otherwise it's probably a good idea to just stay real small, sell lots of houses, and you can do that. But that's the only issue with that is that when you stop selling homes, income stops coming in. You're not moving yourself toward a passive income position, which I believe everyone is going to eventually, if you're not now, eventually you're going to want to move, your business to where it's making you money while you're sleeping. And it's working harder for you than you are for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also talk to a lot of agents who feel like they're doing good. They're good where they're at. But everybody wants to sell more homes, right? Like you just said, they want to sell more homes. They want to make more money. What do you think is like the most important thing to implement or one thing that people can start with when they want to scale up and level up? I know we talk a lot about helping agents double their business. What would you speak to that, and how do you go about that?
Well, the good news is, DeAnn, there's several ways of doing it. And what it really boils down to in answering the question is, what does the agent want to do? I'm bringing an agent aboard right now. His name's Paul, and he's been a Mike Ferry disciple for 15 years or whatever it's been. And he's really, really great at hitting the phones, and he loves it. Like, he really genuinely loves hitting the phones, doing transactions. And that's how he's made his money, and he's seen success with it. And he likes that. I have other agents that are part of our organization and team that don't like hitting the phones. They don't like cold calling leads and that. They'd rather attract business versus chase it. So we have actually, Michael, Jay, myself, for years, we've been teaching one of our many trainings is called Double Your Business. And Double Your Business Live, at least my version of it, really digs into how to attract more business versus chase more business. Not that chasing's bad. It's not bad. But if you develop a system that attracts new clients to you on a consistent basis versus you chasing them, then I would think that anybody would want to sign up for that program versus having to chase people down every single day. So for us, that comes down to having a content strategy, sticking to that content strategy, which is exactly what we're doing right here. You're creating really great content with the hopes that your audience sees value in it. Therefore, you're making a deposit into that audience's relationship bank account. And only when you make deposits into the relationships that are in your circle can you make a withdrawal. It doesn't work the other way around, right? And we teach that you do that through content, through really, really good content that resonates with your audience. So if it was buyers and sellers, what I would do is I would put videos out that serves the buyer and seller, what they're looking for. What pains do they have that I can help them solve with a great video on that topic? And I focused on that. I focused on lifting up small businesses on our communities and highlighting those on my channels, and all those types of things which attract people in your audience to you versus you having to go out and chase them.
So where does that video go? Is that something you post on social media? You email to people?
Everywhere. I never really got into the emailing of those videos, but that is a really strong idea, they should go on YouTube. They should go on Facebook. They should go on Instagram. They should go on LinkedIn. And the big thing right now is Instagram Reels. So right now, one of my agents is absolutely killing it on Reels. And I'm like, man, I'm like falling behind in that game. So I just called my buddy Nick, who runs a lot of my media for me. You probably know Nick.
Yep.
And I literally yesterday, I'm not even making this up. I called Nick. I go, Nick, you got to have your guys start putting my content on Reels. You know, my girl Catherine up in Toronto is killing it on her Reels.
Wow.
And so now I'm just putting it's cool because you make one piece of content and you can put it on 6 different platforms.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit Nick up because I'm not doing Reels either.
Now you will be.
Yeah, but I've noticed that they are what's coming up all the time, very first in your feed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So way back when I started my career, I did a lot of video just with Instagram and Facebook, and nobody was doing it. But I would hit up Facebook, Instagram, email, and it all of a sudden blew up where everyone would say all the time, I see you everywhere, you know? And so I became like a little well-known in the tiny little community I was, but it served my business really well because they were like, you're the one that I see everywhere. So I want to list my home with you. So, and even now more so, right? Video is everywhere.
Well, see, you've already done this. You already get the game, DeAnn. And that's why more people that are listening to this should be following more of what DeAnn's doing because she's doing it the right way. She's built a business that is attracting business to her versus her having to go out and chase it down. And it's because she's positioning herself as kind of a celebrity in her market of the go-to expert. Whereas people, when they think of real estate, they're thinking of DeAnn. I can tell your audience this. In your market, there is no room for third place. What I mean by that is there's usually one person in a market that when real estate, the topic's brought up, they think of one name. And then they may have a close second that they can think of. I'm talking like within the first 5 seconds.
Sure.
The third name isn't even coming in. So you need to be 1 or 2 of top of mind in your market. And the way to do that is to put out credible content that grows your community and adds value to that community at the same time.
Right, adding value is key. So thinking back, Al, like at the beginning of my career, I was with a brokerage that didn't provide training, mentoring. I mean, I barely learned how to write a contract. And so I just went crazy searching things, and I came across real estate coaching, which I didn't realize was a thing, but I spent a lot of money on coaching and it wasn't amazing, but I believe in coaching. And I know you've coached thousands and thousands of agents. How important is coaching today in our industry?
Well, DeAnn, I believe with the right coach, anybody could double, triple, or quadruple their business because I did it. And I'm for sure not the sharpest knife in the box. I just am good at following directions. And if you tell me, hey, go do this, 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 and this in this order, and I do it and I'm going to get the result, I do it. It's interesting that when it comes to coaching, I think that the reason why coaching works for some and not others is some people are coachable, some people are not coachable. And I think that maybe this broadcast can bring an awareness to that for people who maybe are not coachable right now. What we look for as far as qualities of people we want to work with are 3 things: humble, hungry, and smart. And if they're humble, hungry, and smart, we're pretty much certain we can get them, we could double their business and help them succeed. But if they're missing one of those components, it's going to make it difficult to see the success. Hungry is kind of hard to coach somebody to be hungry. Either hungry or you're not hungry, right? And so sometimes what can increase that is a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of belief in seeing someone else succeed. So hungry is an absolute must. Humble. Why is humble? Humble is important because if they're not humble, they're not going to be open to learning something different. They're not even going to be open that the way they're doing it, that there could be a better way. So you got to have the humility of being able to like maybe come to the realization there is a better way, and I may learn something from this other person. And have a little bit of smarts, at least, to be able to implement the things that you learned once you got humble enough to learn them, and kind of take off with it. And we find that those 3 qualities, when we meet someone with those 3 qualities, the rest is, it's pretty easy because we already have the blueprint. It's a matter of just following the blueprint. And so I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, that totally answers my question. One thing I've always said is like, I don't want to reinvent. Just tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. Like, I don't care what it is. Just give me the 3 steps, right? And I'll do it. So I think that's super key, is just to be, like you said, coachable. When does somebody stop needing a coach?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, that's funny because I know that the GOAT Tom Brady, with probably more Super Bowl rings than any quarterback, still got a coach.
Yeah.
I don't really know the answer to that question. Here's what I do know. I know that my coaches still have coaches. They're multi-millionaires that have already made it. Jay Kinder and I recently this summer met a gentleman by the name of Coach Michael Burt. We met him, never even knew who he was. Met him in Nashville at an event for our company. And, we immediately hired him on the spot, literally wrote him the check right there in the room, because we knew that he could get us to that next level. I think that in life, people who are high achievers, people who have seen a high level of success, sometimes go into coasting mode. I know that that's happened with me. I know that Jay's shared this openly, that it's happened to him, is that you see some success, and then what do? You start coasting. And Glenn Sanford said this, I'll never forget it. He said, the first step in pain is coasting. You just don't see the pain yet. So if you feel like you're coasting, usually that means you're living inside your comfort zone, and no growth is going to happen inside that comfort zone.
Right.
Stepping outside of it, getting uncomfortable, pushing yourself, is I think what high achievers have to often do. They have to constantly do it. And if they don't, I think they're going to find themselves coasting. And like I said, usually you're going to find some pain around the corner. It comes in all different shapes, sizes. That pain can be relationship wise. It could be financial. Comes in different forms of pain. But, for me, I'm not the most, I would say, talented athlete, but I've been athletic my whole life. And for me to win, I have to try really, really hard. I just wasn't gifted and born with that natural, gift. And so I've succeeded at high levels in athletics because I just work my ass off and don't stop. I won't get off the treadmill before the other guy. So I'm training for a triathlon. Like I'm training right now for a triathlon. It's actually a half Ironman. And if you would have told me a year ago that I'd be doing this, I'd have told you you're nuts, because I'm like, why does somebody want to do that to their body?
Right.
And it clicked for me. It wasn't for me. It was like, I needed to push myself. I've been in the gym forever, but I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I needed to push myself outside that comfort zone of going through the motions of just going to the gym every day and doing like, I'd complete the workout, but it really wasn't pushing me outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. That's a whole different level, that Ironman, right?
I'm learning that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that. John Kitchens, John's done several Ironman. He's an Ironman. And, and so when I was making the decision to commit to this, he said one thing that's always resonated. And I literally hear him say this in every workout, every time I'm in the pool, every time I'm on the bike, every time I'm running, I hear his voice. And it says, enjoy the process. Enjoy the process while you're going through this, and don't skip steps, and work hard and work your ass off, but enjoy it. And if you do that, you're going to enjoy the day. So I try to always put things in perspective of business. And so what I think a lot of people do is they look at someone who's doing better than them, and they're like, I want to be them. I want to make $500,000. I want to make $1 million. I want to do whatever. and then they find themselves between, it's called the gap and the gain. And
Yeah.
so what they forget about is the gains that they've made versus the gap between here and where they're going. If you just fall in love with that process of growing your real estate business, make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people who lift you up versus push you down. Environment's everything. I think that not only are you going to find success, but you're going to, more importantly, you're going to be happy along the journey and getting there, which is more important than anything, is enjoying the journey.
In everything, right? In our career and everything.
Amen.
Absolutely. One last thing I want to touch on, Al, is that you were super successful. You were RE/MAX Hall of Fame. You started your own company, and but then you moved your entire company to EXP. Why would you were already successful? Why would you move to a new brokerage, and what problem did that solve for you?
So yeah, I loved RE/MAX where I was at. I almost went ahead and bought the franchise. I'm glad that I didn't now, and I didn't even know what I didn't know then. But I had a feeling that going independent was the right move for me, and so we were doing about 800,000 in gross commissions. Our small little team of like 6 people.
Wow.
When I and that was in 2013. We opened Stasek Real Estate Experts. And for the next 3 years, we doubled the business again from 800 to 1.6 million. And but the most I had was 12 agents. So I didn't have this big, huge brokerage. It was a small boutique brokerage. And frankly, we weren't feeling a whole lot of pain at the time. In 2016, it was the best year. I had stepped out of sales. I was really just managing the team. I had more time freedom on my hands, but I didn't have a sustainable business model. And what I mean by that is when you start to grow a team or a small brokerage, your biggest threat is always your number one agent. I was literally just on the phone. I've been on the phone for several weeks now with a team that I'm bringing over, and his number one agent literally just today, he just texted me and he was like, Al, so-and-so just resigned from the team and she's on her own. And it happens.
Right.
It's the nature of our business. Agents are not employees. They're 1099 employees. So they're independent contractors.
Right.
Okay. They hop brokerages. They hop teams. The grass is always greener. It's just, it's part of our business. Took me a long time to accept that because I thought I could fuck that trend. I could have a stickier organization. But even when you're successful growing your agent's business and helping them get to that next level, a lot of them start to do the math. And they're going to end up being like you. If they're a leader, they're going to want to spread their wings and do what you're doing. Yeah. I just didn't have a platform that could accommodate them. It was like, if you're not with Stasek Real Estate Experts, then you got to, and you want to do a team or anything like that. I didn't have the platform for them to be able to grow. And so EXP found me, I found it, whatever you want to say. And I moved my brokerage onto that platform. I kept my branding. I kept my business model intact. I just supersized it. And it went from I actually came over with 10 agents and now we're up to, I don't know, over 9,000 agents in 50 states.
Did all 10 come over with you when you moved?
All 10 came over. Yep.
Awesome. Wow. And you're at 9,000.
It's 9,000 and change. I lost track.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Well, what's next for you, Al, and for the Honey Badger Nation?
Well, we're approaching 10,000 agents, which is going to be a huge milestone that, again, I would have never thought 4.5 years ago that could be a possibility. And now, not only is it a possibility, it'll be here before our 5th anniversary. And
wow,
it's surreal. We built this group with the methodology of adding as much value as possible. And when Michael and Jay and I and John Kitchens, when we sat down, we said, what's the strategy going to be? And then they looked at their coaching company and they said, what was the strategy of the coaching company? What were the keys to success with that? It was a $10 million organization that they built. And it was adding as much value on the front end as possible, in turn, building trust with your audience and attracting the best. And we did nothing different when we were growing this organization. We added as much value. We figured, hey, if this is a race, we're going to win the adding value race by just adding as much as possible. So that's what we've done. It's what we're continuing to do, and being 100% transparent. I know we could even be doing a better job than what we're doing right now. So what's next for us is, what is the next level of, in listening to our agents, what do they need the most help with? Is it lead generation? Is it agent attraction? What is it? And whatever that is, we're gonna meet them where they're at with those needs and try to help them solve that problem. That's what we get up and are excited about doing every day.
Yeah, you guys have done an incredible job, and I'm super fortunate to be able to partner with you guys and be in this group. And thanks for coming on and just sharing all that value with all the listeners. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, DeAnn. It was so nice to chat with you. Thanks for having me on your show.
All right. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.